Welcome to my YouTube channel, Zona de Guerra, YT. The History of Oil, Black Gold, and Global Power. Introduction. Every time you start a car, turn on a light, or touch something made of plastic, you are touching oil. But oil is not just energy. Oil is power. Wars have been fought over it. Nations have risen and fallen because of it. It has shaped our economies, our politics, and even our daily lives. Tonight, we'll take a journey through the history of oil. How this dark, sticky liquid became the most powerful force of the modern world. We'll see how oil created empires, sparked wars, and continues to shape global politics even today. Part 1. The early days of oil. Oil has been with humanity for thousands of years. Ancient Mesopotamians used natural tar, called bitumen, to seal boats and build walls. Egyptians used it in mummification, but nobody imagined it would one day fuel entire civilizations. The real turning point came in 1859, when Edwin Drake drilled the first modern oil well in Pennsylvania. People thought he was crazy, digging for a black liquid in the ground. But when oil gushed out, everything changed. By the late 1800s, oil was replacing whale oil in lamps. Then came the invention of the internal combustion engine. Suddenly, oil wasn't just for lamps, it powered cars, ships, trains, and planes. And then came the man who would become the king of oil, John D. Rockefeller. His company, Standard Oil, controlled more than 90% of the U.S. oil market. He became the world's richest man, and his empire showed the world that oil wasn't just a resource, it was a pathway to power. Part 2. Oil and the Age of Industry. By the early 1900s, the age of oil was in full swing. Henry Ford's Model T turned cars from a luxury into something ordinary people could afford. Each one ran on gasoline, which came from oil. The British Navy, under Winston Churchill, made a historic decision. They switched their warships from coal to oil. This gave them faster, stronger ships and tied Britain's future to Middle Eastern oil supplies. Companies like Royal Dutch Shell and British Petroleum, BP, were born, competing with Standard Oil. By the eve of World War I, oil was no longer just an industry, it was a necessity. Nations began securing oil supplies as a matter of national survival. Part 3. Oil and Global Conflicts. Oil soon became the lifeblood of war. World War I. For the first time, armies used oil-powered tanks, trucks, and planes. As one Allied leader said, the war was won on a wave of oil. World War II. Oil shaped the conflict in dramatic ways. Germany needed oil desperately. Hitler's armies invaded, the Soviet Union in part to seize the oil fields of the Caucasus. Japan attacked Pearl Harbor in 1941 because the U.S. had cut off its oil supply. Without oil, Japan's empire would collapse. The Allies, with massive oil supplies, outproduced their enemies and fueled victory. By 1945, the U.S. controlled half of the world's oil production. Oil wasn't just a resource anymore. It was the foundation of global power. Part 4. The Cold War and Oil Politics. After WPI, oil's importance only grew. In 1960, oil-producing nations created OPEC, Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries. This gave Middle Eastern countries like Saudi Arabia, Iraq, and Iran new power over global markets. In 1973, Arab nations used oil as a weapon. After the Yom Kippur War, OPEC imposed an embargo on the U.S. and its allies. Suddenly, gas stations in America ran dry. Prices quadrupled. Lines stretched for miles. The world realized oil was not just energy, it was leverage. During the Cold War, both the U.S. and the Soviet Union used oil as part of their global strategy, funding allies, influencing nations, and building military power. Oil had become a tool of diplomacy, economics, and even warfare without a single shot fired. Part V. Oil in the Modern World. The late 20th and early 21st centuries showed oil's continued grip on the world. In 1991, when Saddam Hussein invaded Kuwait, the U.S. and allies launched the Gulf War, in part to protect global oil supplies. Russia, after the collapse of the Soviet Union, re-emerged as a powerful oil and gas exporter, using its energy to influence Europe. In the 2000s, the U.S. shale revolution changed the game. With fracking technology, America became one of the top oil producers again. At the same time, the rise of China and India created new demand, reshaping trade flows. But today, oil faces its biggest challenge yet, climate change. As the world shifts to renewable energy, the future of oil is uncertain. Yet, even now, oil remains at the center of global politics. From Middle East tensions to debates over pipelines and energy independence. Conclusion. So what does the history of oil teach us? It teaches us that oil is more than just a commodity. It has been a weapon in war, a foundation of wealth, and a tool of power. It has shaped the modern world more than almost any other resource. And even as we dream of a future powered by renewable energy, oil still runs our cars, fuels our planes, and drives our economies. The story of oil is not just about energy. It is about humanity's endless quest for power. And that story is still being written.